Welcome to Change the Narrative. This is Kim.
This is Lam. What up, world?
What up, Lam?
Hey, man. It's live and ready to get it going.
That's right. Back from that vacation, man.
Yeah. Vegas, LA, man. Much love to all the fam that support came through. We had fun. Back to business, man.
That's right. Man, we got that COVID test too. Yo.
Oh, yeah. We got that COVID on that negative. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Took some time. You know what I mean? Took some time to get the results. But, hey, man, it's all negative. We all good. So, But I also want to shout out to a Belizean that's also doing the podcast, man, Mr. Brent Toombs, man. He got his own podcast called Brent's 2 Cents.
Yep.
He's on all the major platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Facebook. So I encourage all Belizeans to at least go and check him out, man. He got a lot to say, and I'm pretty sure what he got to say is very interesting for the world to hear as well. So go in and check him out, man.
Yep, support our local, man. It's
real.
good to see more people getting into the podcast,
it's all love,
discussing
man.
issues,
It's all love, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so what are we going to talk about tonight?
Man, well, let's talk about the walking contradiction we are as human beings and the hypocritical nature of us in general.
Oh,
because,
wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, man. Ever since we got out of off the quarantine, it just seems like violent crime, not just in Belize but everywhere, is just off the chain.
Correct.
But because our show is catered towards Belizeans back at the crib,
we're going to focus.
It's just it's really sad and crazy what's going on back at the house, man. Where just unnecessary violence, shootings, stabbings, you name it, robbings.
Right.
It's just off the chain. Now, I do understand COVID-19 exacerbate a lot of issues we've been had with a lot of structural issues.
Correct.
Poverty, the family structure issues, you know what I mean?
Unemployment,
underemployment, you know what I mean? But the violence, you know what I mean? Where, the government and everybody went ahead, right? Shut down the country, shut down everything. People lost their livelihood, lost their means of making an income and taking care of their family under the guise of trying to preserve lives.
Correct.
All right. Now we have another debate where the airport is trying to open up on the 15th, and everyone seems to have a 2 cents in regards to
whether or not
that should even occur.
Correct.
But none of these folks, or no one I'm really talking to, are talking about the underlying issues that we've been had and the issues that's plaguing us right now in our society, and that's the gun violence and just violence in a whole.
So you're saying that we're hypocritical because we're doing all this for COVID, which we're not saying we're not supposed to do.
Right.
But what about the people losing their lives? What about the people starving right now because of the measures that we have taken because of COVID?
I mean, as it is, like I said, the problem has just accelerated. You know what I mean? I mean, look at what's going on now. You got the guys at the Port Yola, they're losing their jobs. You got the older folks are losing their NIH funding in regards to they're getting their medicine, their little pills, and so on and so forth. Teachers getting cut. A lot of businesses are going under, man. People, the electricity bill is sky high. You know what I mean? All these issues that are going on, right, because of COVID. But then when you add the violence on top of that and the killing and how do we, you know what I mean? I just think this conversation needs to be had nationally. It shouldn't just be a one-size-fits-all or a one-sided conversation where we're only focusing on COVID but not actually talking about the effects and what COVID is actually doing to our people. You know what I'm saying?
So let's talk about the violence a little bit, and then we'll jump into some of the others, because one of the things that is happening with regards to the violence is it's like people are just completely overlooking that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they are. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, like I said, I don't know if it's because these guys have built up frustration from being locked down that long. I don't know if these are old beasts. I know some of it has to do with people losing their jobs, have no means or income to support themselves because of COVID and so on and so forth. But the violence has to stop.
So a lot of people will sit back and say, well, that's a police issue. What do you say towards that?
Well, first of all, this is not a police issue, and I think we're putting too much in the police. You know what I mean? As it is right now, these cops have a lot on their plate. These cops got to be our psychologists, or got to be our counselor, got to be law enforcement, got to be all. I mean, that's just too much going on.
They're not even trained for all that.
They're not even trained or being paid to take care of all these issues. You know, I was watching on the news the other day where they were, the law enforcement were talking about, well, they feel like the issue stems from kids not getting whoopings as a youngin. I thought that was. I mean, I know. I don't listen, man. I don't know if they were trying to be funny or not, but I thought that was really funny.
So they're saying,
corporal punishment.
There's some type of argument to make that if a child is disciplined in the home, they won't go out on the street and act.
That don't make no damn sense to me. I know a lot of dudes that got whoopings their whole lives, and they're the most, and they're out there doing the most right now. You know what I'm saying? So that never worked. You know what I'm saying?
You don't think it works?
Hell no, that don't work. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I mean, that's trying to find an easy fix to the situation.
I think a lot of that rolls right into the family dysfunction. It's the broken homes,
it's
not having
just
a
family.
father figure, not having nobody to.
Listen, man. It's the country's structural problem. You cannot put people in an environment like they do in Belize, bunched up like that. Bunch of unemployed people to start with. So you got us in section of Belize where we're tight knitted together. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us already don't have no money.
Right.
You know what I mean? A lot of us lack the proper education system to even get out of that situation. They're not paying us anything. True. So a lot of us are stuck in this situation, right? Right. Then you're gonna turn around and tell these same people to pull yourself up by your bootstrap and figure it out.
Yeah, some of us don't have boots.
No, that's what I'm saying. Some of us don't have shoes to wear.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's a structural problem, and again, instead of it's not just a politician problem, but the politician to me, has something to do with it as well, because they keep these people, they keep us in this role where we're too dependent on everything government, and not really giving us the means and ways to actually support ourselves.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it goes back to what we always talk about, the opportunities.
That's what I'm saying. And because of that, now we're forced into poverty, and you already know the many effects that comes down to poverty. You know what I'm saying? Violence, uneducation, and blah, blah. You know the long lines of things. Right. So to me, it starts from there. So what most people focus on was within your household. Man, it's kind of hard to put that on a lot of these moms who are working 2 or 3 jobs to put bread on their table. You know what I mean? Or the dads who are working 2 jobs, to take care of their kids. These kids nowadays, man, based on the influence they got with social media and everything else, these kids don't want to listen, man.
Yeah.
They don't want to listen.
At some point, people have to take responsibility for their own actions. Especially when we become adults, we make our decisions. Their mom could have done everything,
and you still do it
the way they believe is the right way to bring us up as respectable people. Right. But we will make those decisions.
So my question is, what are we going to do as a community to address this issue? Because it's ironic that COVID-19 is here, and we are going to all these extra measures to make sure we're preserving lives. So what are we doing on the grassroots level to preserve the lives of our fellow Belizeans who are being gunned down every single day because of this gun violence that's going on?
And therein lies the hypocrisy, because nobody cares. Where are the leaders? Where are the role models?
That's my point. And that's my point I'm making, my cry to the public. It's like, this is going on for way too long. Yeah. And these kids' lives matter. You know what I mean? It can't be a situation because a man doesn't have anything means his judgment is dead. Or because he did something 5 years ago, his judgment should be, well, he did that 5 years ago, so if he dies now, no one cares. Right. Let's address some of these underlying issues. Why are we resorting to some of these issues? Right. And stop trying to find a one-size-fits-all solution, or trying to wish this problem away, because before COVID-19 hit, we would probably already kill ourselves out by that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have to realize, you talked about the one-size-fits-all thing. The police, for example, come with the violence to fight the violence. Yeah. And that's not working either. The stomping down doors. Yeah. We saw that recently in the news as well, where they're just busting into people's homes.
I don't understand that at all.
That's not the answer
That's
either.
Really not the answer. I don't understand how you are coming into these communities saying that you are there to protect these people, but these people are terrified of the fact that the police are coming to see them. Yeah. And again, it goes back to the fact that there's no real plan, whether it's up top or even on the grassroots. Right. You know, I mean, we when I was younger, they probably still got it. They would push all the gang members and so forth towards CYDP. I know they still got it, but CYDP is underfunded.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? They're underfunded,
and they can't be the only ones.
They cannot be the only institution that is addressing this nationwide issues. And the crazy part about it was, before it was only a Belize City issue.
Right.
Now I'm seeing these violence are countrywide.
Correct.
North, south, east. It doesn't matter.
Well, again, it all is stemming from different underlying problems. Right now, there's a lot of hungry people out there. Hungry people are desperate people.
And to be honest with you,
it leads to a lot of crazy
and
stuff.
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's funny that, again, a lot of people have an opinion on whether or not we should open up the economy or not.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have an opinion whether or not tourists should even be there.
Right. You know what I heard recently?
But how are we gonna find jobs for the people? How are we gonna address or find monies to fund some of these programs that can stem off some of these issues?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Look what's going on right now with some of the students that are stuck.
Oh, in Cuba.
In Cuba. You know what I mean? That's another sad situation. These guys are there thinking they're in a scholarship, they're straight. You know what I'm saying? But their funding got cut.
Yeah. No, they can't.
They not only that they can't come home in case they cannot meet the requirements to come home financially.
Right.
Right. But the government done cut their legs out by cutting the money that they was depending on every month.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
So now they can't even feed themselves.
And who cares about that? Nobody. So it's like, we got to bring this thing back home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, bring this thing back home and start to prioritize what's more important to us in our community. If the idea for us is to preserve lives and to look out for each other, well, let's do that in the right way.
Right.
We can't say we preserve this, certain lives and forget about the rest. I think that's kind of
right, and that's what we're doing.
And that's what it seems like we're doing.
That is what we're doing. We are saying there's a lot of people right now that's saying, don't open the airport. We need to preserve lives from COVID.
Right.
They're completely ignoring everything else.
So
that's what they're doing.
People are sick, man. People are sick with
like
cancer.
We talked about, can't get out.
They can't get out.
See doctors.
They can't see doctors.
And we know our healthcare system is...
The violence is just off the hinges at this point. You understand what I'm saying? In addition to that, to make things worse, they're cutting people hours. People are losing their jobs. People are not paying their bills. All the utility bills and so forth is going up high. So, I mean, if we're going to have a conversation, let's have a real conversation rather than us going to each other's necks, because at the end of the day, these issues are not going anywhere no time soon. And it's about time we really start to get serious about it. I think if we're going to preserve lives, let's talk about preserve as much lives as we can.